Gravy, 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 gravy. Okay. Hi, you guys. Welcome back. This is going to be, I believe, the final... Nope, that's not true. This is going to be the second to the final video, I believe, in the Thanksgiving series. This is going to be how to make gravy. Gravy is not as difficult as you think. Please, don't use packets, don't use powders, don't use mixes. Make your own from scratch. You will be so much happier, and your friends and family will love it more too. Check out this video, see how it's easy to make gravy. Okay, everybody, it is time to make some gravy. Gravy, 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 gravy. Okay, so, do you guys remember this? I guess I'll just set it here. So, this is what came off the turkey. Okay, we have a turkey wing, we have some turkey skin, we have the jelly here. This is all the stuff you're going to get from the bottom of the tray or whatever else. Now, okay, let's start over here. So when we're making gravy, I think of gravy as a ratio, not as a recipe. So you never know how much of this good stuff you're going to have. You can do this with chicken, you can do this with beef, you can do it whatever you want. So don't think of it as a recipe. Think of it more as a ratio. So the ratio goes like this. 1 part fat to 1 part flour, and then thin it out with as much juice or stock or water as you would like. And that's it. The rest is just seasoning and salt to make it the way you want it to be. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take our pot. I'm then going to put in... I guess I'll just do this by hand because this knife is worthless. I'm going to put in the pieces that have fat. So we have skin with fat, we have tail with fat, we have wing with fat, and we have chunks of fat, because this is what gravy is made by. And the reason you want the fat is you suspend the flour with the fat, and then that is what makes the thickening of your gravy. So I've got all these parts in here. We're going to heat this up. We're going to melt the fat. Then we're going to strain it. And then we're going to add the liquid to thin it out and the herbs and spices to make it delicious. It looks bizarre. It looks disgusting. It is not from a packet. This is how you make real gravy. And it's not difficult. Okay, so we're going to crank this up on high. And we're going to let this melt. Whoop, wrong one. We're going to let this melt. And once this melts, I'll come back, make this video shorter for you guys. And we're going to strain it, and we're going to use the fat. Alright, so we'll be back. Okay, you can probably see now that some of the fat is rendering out. And I have to tell you guys, I totally feel like I'm giving my secrets away here, because people always say I make amazing gravy, and I'm now showing you how to do it. So this is making the sausage. This is the part that most people don't want to see how it's happening, because basically you're boiling meat down and taking the fat out, and some people think it's really disgusting. But let me tell you, when you make this gravy or any other gravy, your friends and family will be amazed. So this is the piece of skin from the underside that was kind of jelly-like. It wasn't crispy. Just a reminder, this is the wing tips. They've got some fat in them. This is just a piece of meat, which I might have to steal out of there and eat. I do have this on a fairly high heat because I want to boil off any other liquids there are, because I really just want the fat. So you can see this. I don't know if you guys can see, there's steam coming off of it. There it is. Steam. And it's going to sound like it's frying. And when it sounds like it's frying, that's kind of when you know it's given up what it's got. And you can also see that the fat is kind of getting clear. Can you guys see that? Okay, hear how it's getting quiet? That's how I know that there's not much liquid left, and I think we've got most of the fat out of it. Alright, so I'm going to turn off the heat and take this stuff out. turkey wing. I don't know, some people may like to eat that part. I don't want to eat it. Okay, what we're left here, we are left with some fat in the bottom. You can see not very much actually. This turkey was pretty darn lean. And we've got this fond, which is this brown gooey stuff here. This is what we want. Okay, so since we don't have a lot of fat in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some butter. So I'm going to put about a half cup of butter. This is again a ratio. I'm just eyeballing how much butter I have so that I know how much flour to put. So, half cup of butter. I'm going to slowly bring this back up. Let's heat back up. Alright, we want to melt the butter. We're then going to put in about a half a cup of flour, just regular white flour. And then this is what's called a roux in the French tradition. It's just the butter and the flour. We're going to mix it together. The idea here is to cook the flour. Coat each little grain of the flour with the butter, or the fat, whatever it is. It's both. And we want to also cook the water out of the butter. And then this is also what determines what color your gravy is going to be. The darker you let this cook to, the darker your gravy is going to be. And I also like to start seasoning here, so we get a little bit of a toasty flavor. So I'm going to put in probably about a half a teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to put in about a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to put in, whoa, throwing it down, about a teaspoon of poultry seasoning. No, the spice isn't this old. I just like the old containers, I guess. Alright, check this out. And if you stir this, it's taking the fond off the bottom. That's what we want. Now, I'm going really fast with the cooking method here, but you can slow this down. If this is too fast for you, cook it slow. Okay, and I can see we're going to need a little bit more flour. We want to make a kind of a paste. There we go. You see it's like a liquidy paste. And again, just cooking the flour flavor. Okay, are you ready? Here comes the tricky part. So we got this fond. You guys can see this fond at the bottom. We got that roux. Now, remember the beautiful gelée from the turkey? Put that in here and start deglazing the pan. This is flavor and collagen. Now, the first mixing is where you're going to get your smoothness, so try to get it all mixed together. Because if you can make this smooth, then your gravy is going to be smooth. Okay. It's almost looking like a pot of choux, if you know what that is. Nice and smooth. Now I'm going to use just chicken stock. You can use water, you can use whatever liquid you want, but I like the chicken stock flavor. And mix this in. You can do this. It's not hard. It just takes a couple minutes. Keep stirring. And just try to keep it smooth. And you hear the change in the bottom? That means the fond is coming off the bottom. We have a guest arriving. Hello, guest.
Hello.
Mr. Jim Sirianni, everybody.
Hi.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stir this. It's still on high. I'm just stirring it to get the stuff off the bottom. And then as a special treat, because I used it in another dish, I have some dry sage, which I'm going to put into this. So I'm just going to crunch a little sage into it because it tastes good. And then just stir this up. Now, it looks really thin right now, but don't worry. as this cooks, it will thicken up. So the idea now is just to get the stuff off the bottom and to get your sage rehydrated. Mine's dry, but it was fresh. And really that's it. So we're just going to wait for this to heat up. And when it's heated, we will have gravy. You can see all the herbs and spices. Now, if you don't like this many herbs and you want just a plain gravy, you could simply do turkey and water or milk or whatever, and no herbs, no spices, whatever. But I like it because I think the turkey has a really nice natural flavor the way I cooked it, and then this gives it some saginess. That's a pun. Get it? Sage, wisdom. Get it? So, say you are a gluten-free person. So, instead of putting the flour in, just make your butter, put all your spices, do all that stuff. Do not put the flour. Put your liquids in, bring it to a boil, get everything the way you want it to, and then mix some cornstarch with water, pour it in, and bring it back to a boil. No flour. You'll have cornstarch, and you will have a nice thick gravy and deliciousness. Alright, so while this is boiling, I'm going to check for seasoning and see if it needs to have anything. It's pretty good. Just needs a little bit more salt. Check yours. Does it need salt? Does it need pepper? Clean spoon, because people be yelling at me. And let's try it again. There we go. Salt is good. Poultry seasoning. Okay, can you see right here on the edge? It's starting to boil a little bit. So here's a trick. The thinner your gravy, the farther it will go. If you find that you have unexpected guests showing up and you have a ton of guests and not much gravy, thin it out. They'll use less. If you're making biscuits and gravy the next morning, cook it a little more, thicken it back up. I find that this gravy also freezes pretty well, so if you got too much, it's alright. Alright, we are boiled. So when it's boiled, it is done. Turn it off, give it a final stir. And yes, you have made gravy. Now, mine is a little thinner than I would like it, and it's no big deal. I can add a slurry and make it thick, but you know what? It's going to go in the, I'm going to serve some for luncheon, but some of it's going to go in the freezer. We'll use it for later time. So it's just fine. Can you guys see how thick it is? And also, as it cools, since it's really hot right now, it's a little thin looking. As it cools down to room temperature, it'll be really, really thick. Alright, you guys. Oh, one final taste, because y'all like to see that on camera. Alright, you guys. Gonna taste the gravy. It's hot. Oh, that's good gravy. I know I keep saying that with all this stuff, but it is good. I hope you guys try this. Enjoy turkey gravy. See, it's not that hard to make real gravy, and you will enjoy it that much more. Just remember, always check it for salt content, because that's going to make a huge difference for you and your guests. I hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving. Slather everything in gravy. Put it on your stuffing. Put it on your turkey. Put it on your eggs in the morning. Alright, you guys. Happy Thanksgiving. Take care. Bye. Oh, I almost forgot. If you guys want to contact me on Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else, just look for EudaemoniusMarkII, EudaemoniusMarkII. If that's too hard, you can always find hashtag YourEverydaySanta. All one word. Thanks, you guys. Bye.